giving us this opportunity to express in this way.
I think it's
So
I think that's what people are needing right now. And I
mhm.
was going to say that like, we'll just go ahead and get started. So I can also tell you a little bit about the show.
Yeah, sure.
So basically this is pre-recorded. So everyone who's joining live right now can actually see this recording live on Monday, 27th, which is in Thailand.
Oh, cool.
And it's at 8:45 p.m. So I think it's probably Sunday your time. And I'm so
Okay.
glad that
Awesome.
we're doing this pre-recording on 22nd of April, which is also a new moon, the Earth Day. There's so many things happening.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that, you know, yeah, in a little bit, you'll probably have to, are you hosting the circle tonight or is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow and then also Thursday. So
Because this,
Wednesday for
ah,
us on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's Thursday, Friday.
right. So we're actually, so this is your Tuesday and my Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
I am so excited because I was like, I told Victor I'm gonna ask Elah and AuSierra if they would be on my interview. So I actually created Live with Love back in 2017 on my Facebook. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, it was just me, you know, sharing some insights and some tips and all these things. And then last year, I was traveling to Bali so much that I decided to just randomly interview, you know, people. So I actually started interviewing with Kate, who is a sound healer back in Taksu. And then I thought, you know what, this is so amazing. I love to support people. And
Mm.
this reminds me of my own journey as well, because when I started doing this healing work, I realized that like I would love to call my friends and tell me how it went. Like, I'm not
Right.
sure if this has ever happened. Like, you get so excited about the breakthroughs that you have that you just want to tell people about it. So naturally, I kind of sort of became like the advocate for all these teachers and coaches. And they always tell me, Sabina, you're so good at selling. I'm like, no, I hate to sell. I don't like to sell. But what I'm really good at is I'm really good at speaking the truth and sharing my own experience about how it was working with them. And
Mm.
so that's why the integrity of this show is that I really want people, whoever that is listening right now, who's coming onto the show, I always ask you and ask them the two questions like, do you want to live an empowering life and you want to step into that empowerment and just really
Mm.
feel inspired every day? Because that's how I live my life. And I know
Mm.
that I didn't do this all by myself. You know, I've always had support, and some of the support is like beautiful people like you. That's why I really wanted to bring you on to the show. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, you know, it's called Live with Love because I really don't want people to live in fear. So I'm very excited to have you on. And, you know, I want to encourage also whoever that is listening to you and to us right now to share the feed and to share this post onto their wall, because I know that there are people who are waiting to hear the messages that Elah and AuSierra has to share. So I'm very excited to have you both here.
Great. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having us. It's a real
Yeah.
honor to be with you and to be sharing with you in this format. And, you know, it's like, and getting to share deeper together as well, because we've been traveling
Exactly.
together for a little while, and
Yeah.
we're stoked to share deeper with you.
So I want to do a proper introduction for you
Sure.
because I've known you guys for like, I think almost a year now. But I've
Mm-hmm.
actually personally heard of you a couple of years ago from a friend, Sunny, and I know he went to a class with you as well. But I just want to share with the audience that to have Elah and AuSierra on the call tonight is so precious because I've learned so much from the two of you. And especially that's why, like, in times like this where there's so many things are happening, the pause around the world, the lockdown, and I'm born in the 80s and we have never experienced something like this. And
Mm-hmm.
even my dad, who's in his 60s now, has never experienced something like this. And I believe that this lockdown or this kind of pause, the last time that has happened, something so severely was like, you know, over 100 years ago. So this is something very new for our generation. And I know that both of you are energy workers, and to have you both on the show is so valuable, even for the audience. So I really recommend for anyone who's tuning in right now to stay tuned throughout and stay towards the end, because everything that Elah and AuSierra is sharing tonight will be so supportive for you during this time. And my personal experience with you has been quite deep, because I've also mentored with AuSierra last year. I did a class with you, and one of the things I really admire about the two of you is the fact that you really step into that truth and integrity. And that's why whenever I talk about things like, you know, stepping into your true self, like a topic like this, stepping into the leader in times of crisis, and all of us are leaders, I couldn't think of anyone better than the both of you to come and to share your wisdom tonight. Yeah. So I just want to like give you that bit of introduction. And also you have been around the world hosting circles and connecting people from like Australia, Singapore, Bali, all over the United States, Germany. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. And yeah, it's been an honor to meet and work with you. Like divine synchronicity has brought us together to collaborate and to deepen, and this is essentially what we are doing in our work. You know, it's creating transformational experiences with where we anchor a certain frequency on the planet, which is in alignment with the new paradigm, which is in alignment with being heart-centered during the hardness of the world. And so what happens is like forces attract like forces. So you came out of nowhere at some point.
I really did. I really did. I heard of you for a couple of years already from Sunny. And I remember that he said he's going to learn like how to host circles. And I'm like, that's really interesting, but I won't be able to make it this time, you know, because it was during the Bali Spirit Festival. And I just, you know, it just came to the back of my mind, never thought about it again until like last year when I went back to Bali. And I actually attended one of your students' ceremony, cacao ceremony. And Victor and I went there, and then we were like, she learned from someone in Bali. Sunny did say he learned from someone in Bali. I gotta know these people. Who is this people? And I'm so determined that I don't want to learn how to host a circle or how to connect people in that form from anyone else but you. So I really went on my hunt on Google, and you know, as soon as we spoke, I was like, okay, you're the right person for me. And I just decided to pay, and we did the online class together, and it was awesome. So thank you.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how did I want the audience also get to know you a little bit as an individual and as a couple. How did the both of you kind of come together to offer this beautiful offering of transformation workshops?
So for me personally, I was a school teacher, a high school science teacher. And then I went on this big rites of passage pilgrimage into the jungle, studying with tribal cultures from Papua to Colombia to Guatemala. Like I went deep into the jungles to start really studying how do people live harmoniously on earth with themselves, with spirit, with source, with the land. And then I came out of the jungles and I was like super inspired to play music. And, you know, teaching high school really established for me my voice, and being able to get in front of people and deliver a lesson, deliver a teaching, whatever it was, you know, that really established that. I mean, for 6 years, I was showing up every day delivering a lesson plan, you know, so that really helped build my confidence in front of to be able to create an outcome for learning. And then I came across his path, and he's just like an epic musician through and through. He's just a wholehearted, I mean, his essence is just, how do I use music for collective awakening, which I'll let him talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But my skill set all of a sudden merged with his skill set, and we have very different skill sets. Like I'm more of a vocalist, I'm more of a teacher, and he's just this artist, this musician, and like he is a mystic and like you know, deep in meditation. But it was like our two independent sovereign embodiments of wholeness that we found within our own self all of a sudden just multiplied. And so it was like what we could do alone all of a sudden just became more powerful because we have very different skill sets. So when you mix those two together and then we collaborate together, it's this like meeting of the two sides of a spectrum that make it really, really wholesome and deep.
Right. We were both really, it's like drawn to creating experiences that were deeply transformational, deeply inspirational as well. And, so we took both of our unique gifts. So like AuSierra has this gift of guiding people, of guiding groups, and really like calling it in. It's like she can feel absolutely everything. And that's one of the gifts that she gained being a teacher. It's like being able to read the room and really feel what everybody in the room needs in order to come into harmony. And then, it's like bringing it together with music, like is really what we do to work together to, it's all about creating harmony.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, every single thing that we do is about creating harmony. And we both did different things before we worked in gathering groups together for transformational events. But, what we did before wasn't fully reaching the potential of what's possible in creating unity and harmony. And we both came together with that intention of utilizing the gifts that we have in order to create a field where everyone feels like completely safe and where people are feeling that type of connection that they're yearning for. And, it's like for me personally, I didn't see that fully in music. It's like I saw music and concerts as like a fraction of what's possible in the type of unified field that you can create. Like you can go to a concert and you're drinking your beers and you're talking to your friends and there's music over there, but it's a whole bunch of different people in different fields and different scenes. And when AuSierra and I got together and sort of utilizing also her gifts of bringing people together, what we noticed is we could utilize music and almost like work with that energy field all together instead of creating a more fragmented field where everything is this and that and that. It's all guided towards one specific intention. Yeah. So that everybody who's there really feels like they're part of it instead of like they're just being there to be entertained. Instead of entertainment, it's transfer. I don't know quite the word for it, transfertainment or whatever.
Or at the moment, it's quantitainment. I think that's a new thing, right? Like quarantainment, something like that. I saw it on TV the other day.
Oh, I like that.
Quarantainment. Like, that's cool. Yeah. And just for the audience to actually know, I am a part of your Patreon group, so I attend your monthly events, actually weekly events that you host every week. And I love what you said, that you're creating harmony, because I feel like that's a value that most people have forgotten. I feel like people have been focusing more on like something else, and harmony, the life value of harmony really dropped down. And even for me, Victor, my partner, he's very excited to watch this live. Actually, he was telling me that like he's gonna be here to watch it. So he says his number one value of life is harmony. And I never had harmony on my life value list before until like towards the end of last year, where I was like, you know what, it's not relationship, it's not this, it's not that, it's harmony. And then I realized that harmony is such an important word, that an important energy that I think people have forgotten. And maybe that's why both of you unite so beautifully together. You're, through my eyes, you're a power couple. And I met Sunny at the airport like last year when I went to do a training in Bali. And we were just talking, and I said how much I love Elah and AuSierra. They're such a harmonious and power couple. And then he said, well, you know, Victor and you are the same too. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I wish we could meet and like meet in person, because we've been meeting virtually for almost a year.
The day shall come.
It
The day shall come.
we're already drinking coconut water right now so that we can feel like we're in
You're
Thailand.
feeling like you're in Thailand right now, right?
It for sure will come.
Yes. So I love everything you said about harmony. And I feel like that really leads me to the next question. And I remember that, you know, AuSierra, you often talk about this because you really dive deep into the shamanic field. And so you always, and both of you are so connected to nature, you're connected to music, you're really connected to that energy of creation. Like every word that you write is so poetic that I'm like hypnotized just reading your words and listening to your meditation. But I just want to ask you personally and professionally, and maybe spiritually and energetically, holistically, what does coronavirus mean, like in this paradigm? What does it really mean right now? Because I feel like you're watching the news and you're getting, yes, it's a virus. I mean, I've worked in this field for 7 years. I know it's much deeper. I've shared it before, but I think the audience would really appreciate it, hearing it from you and what your intake is.
Right. Thank you for that potent, powerful question.
Yeah.
We've been diving deep into it for ourselves, you know, and the way that I always want to reframe everything is from an emotionally intelligent and a spiritually wise perspective, you know? And I feel like that is kind of what mass humanity is lacking in a little bit, is we get so fixated in our intellectual status and physical money and body image and all of these worlds that it's the emotional and spiritual spectrum that we're kind of like we've ignored a little bit, you know, for a while, and we're starting to mature in these realms. And so what I'm seeing from an outside perspective is like, even the word like lockdown, it's super intense, right? It's like, can we reframe that and go, okay, this is an opportunity for inner retreat. We're all getting this opportunity to be inside and be in closed doors and not be so externally engaged in the world, in the busyness that we can get wrapped up in, and to pause, to rest, to heal, to rejuvenate, to recalibrate, to reevaluate what we're actually doing. Because sometimes with momentum, we get going, and we're just going. And we're not even sure that like we're in full soul alignment anymore, or that it's really what we actually want to be doing. And so the whole planet, the brakes have just gone, you know, like, and we as a species, as a collective, are being asked to go into this internal reflection and to ask ourselves, like, what are we doing with our lives? Like, are we actually happy? You talked about harmony. I believe when we are in harmony, that's where the source of our happiness comes from. If we're out of harmony, whether that's in our relationship with ourselves, relationship with others, relationship with our work, relationship with whatever, if we're in disharmony, we're going to feel unhappy. So when we
That's so
take
beautiful.
when we take that step back to reevaluate, like a lot of the sessions I've been doing one-on-one in my mentorships, people finally have the space and the time to heal some childhood trauma.
Oh, I agree.
They didn't have the space or the time. Life is too busy.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you go deep in and you start reworking your inner framework. And then all of a sudden you have so much more energy to participate and to engage with the world from a more healthy, harmonious, response, heart-centered way, rather than so reactive. So to me, this is a massive collective invitation to reprogram, to rewire.
That's beautiful. And I want to also ask a deeper question. So I
Mhm.
know that there are people out there right now who are feeling so fearful. Like they
Mm.
know that it's a pause, it's a retreat, but they just can't come to terms with that fact. And so they're refusing to do the inner work, refusing to do the meditation, just in the
Mhm.
resistance. What would happen long term if that continues? Because I know you're very intuitive with, the energy. So I'm curious, what would be the invitation here?
Are you asking the invitation to move beyond the resistance,
Yes.
or yeah?
Yeah.
Um, the funny thing is that I feel that we can. There's a big cosmic archetypical story that's playing out, and whether we choose directly to engage with it, it's going to unfold
Mhm.
regardless if we are like full force, go do all the work, like it's going to happen
Anyway,
organically.
yeah.
So it's like it's finding a balance between the doing and the being, because like today I had a moment where I just gave myself full permission to, like, I was exhausted and I laid on the earth and I took a nap on the earth and I just did full earthing, recharging, and I, like, my whole battery just like filled back up, And
Yes.
so if I wouldn't have taken that time, I would have just like kept going to these interviews or our ceremonies or all the things that are on the plate for me to still do, even amidst, the quarantine. And like finding this balance of like, it's okay to like
Mhm.
just be. We don't have to constantly be like accomplishing, doing, right? And like he's been such an amazing teacher for me, because my mind is like, do, go, like, and when we find that balance of the feminine, which is the receptive, the surrender, the stepping away from the art, stepping away from doing the inner work and just like integrating.
Mhm.
And then the masculine is penetrative. It's very like go, do, and finding at your own balance with that, and to not compare yourself to how others do their rhythms and rituals
That
and
is
their.
so beautiful, because
Mhm.
the theme this week is really about how I want to encourage people to stop comparing and just start
Mhm.
coming back to you. And I, like you, Sarah, like I have such high masculine energy. I'm such a doer. Whereas like before, I'm never a doer, but when I get my doer mode on, it's been so consistent that Victor has been such a great teacher for me to like, you gotta relax, you gotta like, release and allow yourself to lie down and roll on the floor and maybe watch like a few episodes of nonsense. But it's nice to find that balance finally. And I think you're absolutely right that each person is very different, but it's about the balance between doing and being. And I feel like this is something that people might need to hear as well. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have some more wisdom to share on that piece.
Yeah, it feels like a massive collective balancing in that sense. It's like if you look at the overarching energetics of the planet, it's like we've been in a very, not to label everything clearly, but it's like been a very masculine, like driven, energetic through industry and building and growing and growing and growing. And I feel like we're at a transition point where we come back into more balance.
Mm.
And just by the nature of this reality is that it's not certain. It's like the concept of a novel virus is it's new, and when something is new, it's uncertain. You don't really know what it is. And so, and then you've got a whole slew of theories as well that everyone's coming up with about what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And where I'm sitting with it all is I'm watching everything, like
Yeah.
watching all the theories, watching the whole thing play out, and still sitting in that place of not knowing. And to me, the reality that's going on right now is that it's really, really difficult for humanity to be in a space of not actually knowing.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
not actually knowing what's going on. And what do you do in that space when you don't know?
Mm.
Do you
Yeah.
try and create a barrier of safety where you create facts and it's like ideas of what you think is actually happening, or do you sit in the not knowing and and move into it and allow what needs to come up, because there are many collective shadows coming up in the world right now, and it comes up in the stop and in the pause, and there are many shadows coming up in us all collectively. It's like for us at the same time as this, like we've decided to clear out certain addictions and patterns of going on social media all the time or watching different things. It's like really approaching those patterns that we've been in that empty space.
Yeah.
And we're really all in that right now. It's like we're in an empty space. We can try and figure it out as much as we want, but like the information is going to keep on coming in slowly. And to me, I'm a eternal optimist. I feel like this is an incredible opportunity right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love everything that you both shared. It really helps people to also see that this is, even though they might feel like this is a crisis, but there really is an opportunity. And sometimes the opportunity is not about like going out and hunting for that opportunity, but rather to just sit and just be present and allow that opportunity to slowly come into fruition, and just be with yourself. And I really love what Elah shared as well about the addictions, because I realized that like I've been home now for almost a month. We got into our inner retreat on 22nd of March. So I think I'm not sure if we're a little bit later than the States. I'm not sure which day you guys started that. But anyway, our inner retreat started on 22nd of March. So it is exactly a month today. This live is on 27th, but the pre-recorded session is exactly a month today. And what I realized is that I really have that opportunity to kind of like clear out not only things that I feel like, it's been with me, like papers that I kept for so many months, but also clearing out some blockages that I have inside myself. And I feel like it's such a good time to kind of go within. Yeah.
What I see is as a collective human family, what we're doing on a mass scale, because there's like all these individual stories, right? But in the evolution of relationship, you have codependent relationship, the next evolution from there, which is where most of humanity is functioning.
Yeah.
Unhealthy, codependent, addictive relationships, right? And then the next evolution is the stage of independence, where we start to find our own sovereignty, where we're able to be in solitude and alone, and we're okay being alone.
I love that. Speaks to me. Back in the days, I remember, because I've suffered a long time from insecurity, and I've watched that because, like my dad was never around a lot and yada, yada, yada. So anyway, long story short, when I grew up, I realized that I was having this codependent relationship because I've learned that from watching my parents. Yeah. And I realized how much that, how like intoxicated that can be for myself, because I couldn't be alone. And I know so many people who are listening to this call right now. And I know because I've worked with so many clients who are on the same path, where they feel like they're feeling so lonely. And one of the teachers mentioned this, I think in February, I went to one class and she said like, one of the biggest diseases in the world is like, people are suffering from loneliness. But I take that as, the fact that we're disconnected from our own inner being and our own inner self. So thank you for sharing that paradigms of relationship. I think it's really, really supportive. So yes.
This is opportunity for us to become our own best friend.
Right.
To where
Absolutely.
we're at our house and we're just like, yes, I need to hang out with my best friend, you know? And
Yeah.
fill every moment that and like take advantage of this time, because we're just gonna get back into like business as usual so soon. So
I know, yes.
time and feel
Yeah.
so fulfilled by it, like really deeply nourished and connected and nurtured. Like it's the time to re-examine our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with the earth. You know, it's Earth Day today. This is perfect. It's time to reevaluate our relationship with Source, with the Creator, with whatever you call it, you know, and like feel that ultimate connection that you have as an independent. Because after the phase of independence comes interdependence, where it's like it goes from codependent to independent to interdependence. And this is where, you know, you're seeing me and Elah come together as two whole beings,
Yes.
come together in an interdependent relationship, because we spent the time being independent. We found wholeness within ourselves before we started seeking someone else to fill
Yes, I love that. That is so important. That is so important. I know so many people who are listening to this right now is really needing this, needing to hear this as well. So I really see like this everything that you've put together so far sounds beautiful and very like positive. And I feel like when people hear that, oh, okay, we were at a codependent and you're moving to independent and you're moving to interdependent, I believe that many people are feeling hopeful right now. So I just want to encourage the audience as well that whatever it is that you really like, whatever wisdom that Elah AuSierra is sharing and you're loving it, do press the like button, do comment, do type it in the chat box so that, you know, we can recap and we can re-see. And Elah AuSierra will also be watching this live together with you so they can answer some of your questions as well. So we want to engage this interaction.
Yeah, and full invitations to join us in our Patreon community. We have this beautiful online community where we're doing weekly ceremonies
that I'm a part of as well, which is awesome.
And it's a quickly growing community where we're holding weekly ceremonies where we have these really transformational themes where it's like it's a guided retreat for you, essentially. So if you're struggling with like, how do I, you know, hold this space for myself, we're essentially holding this container on a weekly basis where we create these themes for discovery, and there's a community with worldwide like-minded souls like yourselves where we're all coming together and singing and praying and transforming and healing. And so full invitation to join us with that.
Yes.
It's one of our ways that we've taken our in-person ceremonies that we've been sharing around the world and just bringing that planetary community together and weave it into an online space so that we can always stay connected, inspired, uplifted, you know, and just keep these amazing conversations going. So.
Yes. So I have shared that. I will share that towards the end of the call as well. I'll also type it into the comment box that you know where to go. And if there's anything that you need at all, or you want to get to know more about Elah AuSierra, don't forget to ask me. But I have a few more questions that I really need to ask you. So part of the theme, you know, one of the first few lessons that we did together. So I'm a certified Way of Circle facilitation by both of you, so I'm very honored. You know, I've been drinking my cacao with you every week. It's amazing. And been doing the blessing ceremony meditation on my live video. So thank you for inspiring me to do that and to get into that space and to really add that offering into whatever it is that I'm already doing. And I remember that the first few lessons that we did together, in fact, the very first class that you taught us in the course was you taught us about what it is to be a benevolent leader and how important it is to step in truth and integrity. And I remember right after that lesson, I just went downstairs and I was telling Victor all about it because I was so excited that I found someone online and our energy and our core values match, and because truth and integrity is such an important ingredient for me. And I feel like at this moment in time, even business owners and small business owners, you know, even employees, employers, everyone is really struggling about what it's like to be a benevolent leader, because everything is shifting. The whole paradigm is shifting. So I was hoping that you can share a little bit more about that benevolent leader and how people can actually activate that in this time.
Yeah, this is a massive key question. Thank you for asking this. This is the heartbeat of our work, honestly. And when people like you come to us and they're like, please teach me how to facilitate to the best, like, you are really holding the staff of benevolence and integrity, and we're just like, oh, thank you, God, like just so blessed. Because there are still some facilitators out there that are a little confused, but it's like when we are talking about new paradigm frequencies, benevolence is the heartbeat of that, you know? And so the more that we can awaken this in ourselves and each other and feel that meeting place that we can still be abundant when we're not taking advantage of people or manipulating people. Benevolence is the opposite of that. You know, it's finding the goodness in your heart, that part inside of you that really wants the planet to wake up and to really be heart-centered and really be connected and harmonious and have healthy boundaries. And it's like the benevolent leaders invite us to step into our maturity as a human race, because as we've been participating in very codependent, you know, dynamics as human beings and in our relationships, from what we've learned, you know, benevolence is the next like stepping up or the next evolution of our actual character. I believe deeply that human is neutral. When we come in, we have a shadow tendency that we can lean down towards, which is our very addictive behaviors, manipulative behaviors, you know, very dark ways of engaging with the world. And then above, up high is our highest self, our angelic self, our benevolent self. And it takes effort to become benevolent. It takes no effort to sink down into shadowland. Okay. And this is what is the difference between someone who is a real benevolent leader, is they are constantly doing that work that it takes to come into your higher frequency, into your higher self, into true love, where you are creating true fields where people are healing and you're not taking advantage of those people that are vulnerable or tender, you know? And so that's what we do in our trainings, is really invoke this in people as much as possible, because we've seen facilitators who are taking advantage of people or manipulating, and we're just like, no, this is not the new paradigm frequency. No, this is old paradigm.
That is so true. And I remember that when you shared all of that, I'm like, oh God, thank you. Because I really, you know, and sometimes I believe that many of us have been manipulated in the past. And sometimes when we get manipulated, we start to question ourselves. Like, is it me? Am I the person, you know? And obviously it's us, because we're attracting that into our lives. But then we get into that state where we're uncertain and unsure whether that was the right thing, you know, that has happened to us, when maybe the whole group or the whole energy is really looking up to that leader, but then, you know, you are feeling like that leader was not truthful. So, and I know that a lot of people have had that experiences, especially when they're coming into a healing space, you know, or like the space of when people refer to spirituality or something, it can be so sensitive as well to go to the right source and the right place and be in that safe space. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And I also really admire that you said, you know, this is not the time to take advantage, you know, and it's the time to still stick to the truth. And that it's so easy to get into that lower frequency and lower energy. Yeah.
As transformational leaders or guides, it's an incredible gift. You know, it's like an amazing opportunity to be able to help form other individuals. And with that comes an immense responsibility. An immense responsibility to always, always, always be directing yourself towards choosing the benevolent choice. Because it all comes down to a choice. You can always make that choice to manipulate. And like AuSierra was saying, it's like the manipulative choice is generally easy and goes towards our lower natures within as humans. And that choice to choose the benevolence is it's like we always need to keep ourselves in check as guides and
I so
anyone who's
agree.
in this position as a healer or holding space for others when it's like when people come to guides, they're very vulnerable. It needs to be an incredibly safe space. So the ones who are receiving people when they're vulnerable need to be constantly looking at themselves, constantly keeping themselves in check. And this is the integrity that we were talking about. It's like it doesn't end. It doesn't. You don't just achieve something and then you're like, oh, I can stop looking at myself, and whatever I do with everybody is just perfect. It's a constant upkeep to make sure that you're actually like tending to these people who need safety in order to transform. Transformation only happens through safety, and safety only happens through benevolence and integrity. And so as much as we can, and that's obviously you resonated with it in the course. It's like because you're doing that, and that's what to us that's what's going to change the world.
Yes.
Guides who are holding that space and who are empowering others to also hold that space for others, and then it ripples out and ripples out and ripples out.
What you're speaking right now just like really makes my heart bloom. And I hope everyone who's hearing this, I hope that this is an empowering words for you. Whether you're a mother, a father, you are a leader. And I believe that's the teachings of Elah and AuSierra always throughout the time that I've known you, like that's what you believe in too, I believe. Yeah.
For sure, to the core of our beings. And it's like integrity also comes from doing the work yourselves, and like doing it yourselves. And we're actively on ourselves, like going deep into it.
Yeah, I agree. And the quarantine is making you go even deeper. That's what Victor and I were saying.
For all of us.
And choosing benevolence isn't this like woo-woo version of it's all perfect all the time, whatever it is. But it's also not, what's the word for it? There's a word that I'm looking for. It's like giving those shadows like the limelight in the sense of acting out of shadow.
Yeah.
It's about seeing the shadows, seeing the darkness within constantly, and always choosing the light. Always choosing the light. And the more you can see those shadows, the more you can see the darkness, the more you can not choose to act upon them.
I love that. Yeah.
Without shunning them and saying they're wrong or anything like that, just choosing to act in the world from what's good for the other person, what's good for the community, what's good for the world, what's good for everything.
Yes. And I really, this is something that everybody, I think consciously, we all know that we have a choice. And I really like the way you put it is that see the light, see the darkness, and then choose not to act upon it. And sometimes it takes like split seconds, right? I mean, split seconds doesn't take that long, but it's in that split seconds that I feel personally, that's where you can activate and choose the benevolence or choose, not to act on the darkness. Yeah. So thank you for reminding that.
That's the definition of
I got it. You can speak. I'll take care of it.
Uh-oh.
I got it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That's the definition of integrity, right? Is the ability to do what you know is right, even if no one is looking. Right? So
Yes.
it's when you choose to the light, or choose the benevolence, or choose the goodness, or whatever is inside of you, this is how we develop integrity. Every time we make that small little choice that's like, don't steal that, or like, don't manipulate them, or do the opposite. Every time we make those small little baby choices, we're gaining the field of our integrity in our body.
It's beautiful. I love everything that you shared about integrity. And I really want to encourage the audience as well to acknowledge that, what Elah and AuSierra are sharing it now is really gold, because it brings me up to the next question, that the last couple of weeks, especially, I've actually been getting a lot of messages from coaches and healers. Some of these coaches are coaches who coach with me, and they're saying that, they're feeling this sudden urge that they need to now do everything online, and they're getting into the masculine mode again. And, they're trying to figure it all out. But there's so many competition in the market. So all of these little thoughts are going in their heads. And I'm seeing that a lot also on social media, where there's two groups. One group is really, well, rather three. So one group is really doing whatever it is that they're doing, but magnifying it. The other group are the group who are feeling like they need to survive and are just coming out and coming out. And the other groups are the groups who are refusing to do the work, but bashing on the other two, like, you guys are just, And when I read this on social media, I really have to look at it from a space of discernment and coming back to check in, like what Elah said. Okay, I need to check in right now if what I am doing is in my integrity and what is not, And I believe that this is a question that every coach, every healer, every teachers and leader in the industry are wondering is, how do you even handle this energy of competition? And I know, because you've mentored me through that. And that's why I really would love, for people to hear what advice you need to give them right now about this energy.
So the opposite of competition is cooperation, right? And cooperation is heart-centered. And so a really practical tool to just bring in to start integrating, competition is very reactive. It's survival. It's like, oh shit, I gotta scurry energy, right? It's like, I gotta survive. It's very serpent-like. It's very fierce. And cooperation is that more response energy. So it's like, after the extreme emotion of the reactivity, what is underneath there? What's the deeper emotion? Right? So a really practical tool is, anytime you're about to move forward, make a decision, engage, make a comment on something, or whatever, whatever you're going to do to participate in the world, is like, close the eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, curl your shoulders back and open, and place your hand on your heart, and really pause for a moment. And just taking that pause to come back in and ask my heart, how do I really feel? What's my inner truth? Because a lot of times we're just participating in reactivity that's bouncing off of each other in the world. So when we take a moment to just like pull ourselves out of it and just go, who am I? How am I? What do I really feel? You can place your hand down below your belly button by your reproductive organs. This is your creation center. It's like, bring your awareness back in. And the more we do that repetitively, like through the actual art of putting our hands on our body and checking in, this rewires us to come into the more heart-centered place. So, the more we do it through repetition, it becomes part of our new harmonious programming, which we don't actually need to stop and do this whole act. It just becomes a part of our nature, that we are able to witness what the world is doing, and then we can access how to participate from that heart-centered place. But if you're still participating in that very reactive energy that's happening out in the world, that's a really powerful way to just reprogram your mind, reprogram your body to come back to self-source. Because when you're participating in the pain body of the world, the reactivity of the world, you're not self-sourcing, you're needing external validation, you're needing external whatever, it's outside, and that's what this whole inner retreat quarantine is inviting us into, is more self-sourcing, more how do I feel about this, what's my position, how do I want to engage versus what does the world want me to do.
I love that. That is so true. Because Victor is my man who really keeps me in check. And so he's always asking, okay, this thing that you're doing, is it like your truth or is it what the world wants you to do? So I think it's very much exactly what AuSierra says. And I really believe that it's so important as a leader to always come back and check in, like, because our words can be so powerful, and because we are working with so many clients that we are naturally influencers, And so whatever we say, some people who don't have filter really take that as a yes. Like we're allowing this to happen, and our energy can easily affect other people. So like a snap. So thank you for reminding people to come back into their own, their own self, their own truth, stepping into who they really are.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Do you have anything you want to add, Elah, to that?
Good question. It's a fantastic question to approach right now, and it's also so multifaceted of what's going on, because it's like it's very important for everyone collectively to also empathize with the fact that many people are in a situation where it's difficult to make a living. It's like there have been so many people who have lost a lot of business, a lot in every single industry, no matter what it is, no matter what they're doing for work. And, it's important to empathize with what happens from that space. It's like when people need to survive, they need to survive, and they need to do what it takes to survive. And simultaneously, as guides, if our income is through being a guide for others, what I feel is that the most important thing is continuing to remain in integrity. So however you can remain in integrity as a guide for others, so however you can, if your income has been, hurt in one area, in this area, if you are a guide, how can you make money in another area so that you can remain in integrity as a guide and a coach, for example, is one way of looking at how to maintain that integrity, not make the survival leak into manipulation to, say, get people to do your package where you're not giving them something that's of true value, whatever it is.
Yes.
It can be many different scenarios, and there are many scenarios to this, and it's like it's very difficult to get into all of it. My core thing is, let's all work the best we can, even in dire times. And this is the challenge for light workers, for people who are here to bring more harmony and beauty to the planet, is to remain centered, even if we're in survival, as best as we can.
Wow.
Remain centered even if we're in survival, because it's like, as the universe keeps on showing us new things and bringing us new challenges, and I think that they may new challenges as our collective humanity comes into this new octave of consciousness. We're going to go through challenges. Challenge is how we grow, and also it's how we learn, like how far along we can get, and in those challenges that you're in, with it, to constantly try and keep yourself in check with that, and keep learning and growing into how to remain centered amidst the chaos.
Wow, thank you so much. That's like really pure gold and wrapped everything up so beautifully. Really. And I'm sure anyone who's hearing this right now, coaches, healers, trainers, leaders in your industry, doesn't matter whether you're own a business, whatever it is that you're doing, you know, really take these words, these wisdom, and apply that into your own life. Because I know that we're all in this together. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
before we wrap up, you know, I would love it if you could give, you know, like a 5 minutes meditation or anything at all that you feel would be suited for the energy of the stuff that we've talked about, to really bring people into their center and to trust in who they are.
Absolutely. Do you want to grab the guitar?
Yeah.
Yay! I feel like I'm getting a midweek session myself doing this interview. I'm feeling so energized right now.
Awesome, babe.
Amazing. It feels so good to just talk to you.
Yeah, it's so nice to like chat and do this, you know. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share in this way, which is
really. Thank you for saying yes. You have a song, Say Yes to Life. Thank you for saying yes. And for those of you who don't know, Elah and AuSierra also have Spotify that I follow. So you can also go in and listen to their music and go into their website, which I'll comment onto the live feed because I'm live with you right now. So you'll see me typing all the wonderful sentences that Elah and AuSierra shared. You see my comments. But I just want you to know that like their music is blissful, and I'm so grateful that you're getting an opportunity to hear this tonight.
Yeah. Perhaps maybe we should play Yes to Life then, since you brought that in. Hey?
Ooh, that would be nice. I'll mute myself and then I'll let you do your magic.
Amazing. Yeah. Let's play it.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, it feels like an amazing song to share, which is also a meditation. So we invite you to just come into that heart-centered space that is in alignment with the frequency of life, encouraging life to grow, staying centered in our heart, centered in our crystalline core nature that gives permission for life to grow. So the song, we really feel it is like water for your seeds. And as this is the new moon, Earth Day, all of these beautiful moments in time, just take this opportunity to connect in with your personal yes. What are you saying yes to? And may this song take you into the full 144% devotion to your personal yes in whatever way that looks.
Bring your offering to the mountain. Bring your offering to the sea. Take a walk on this earth hungry
into the great mystery.
Let your roots rise up from the kingdom. Build your foundation strong. On this path you'll slay some dragons
and some demons in your thoughts. From the seed to the tree to the flower of this life. From the seed to the tree to the flower of this life. To the love, to the love, to the love that you are. To the love, to the love, to the love that you are. To the love, to the love, to the love that you are. To the love, to the love that you are. Feel that love vibration. Woo!
Yeah, in this tree of love.
rise.
From the splendor to the beauty, your crown and holds the key. All this wisdom, all this mercy,
Balanced by severity.
be the holy light of the lantern.
Be the fool at the top of the cliff.
Stepping out into nowhere.
Ready to die, ready to live.
See
To the tree, to the flower of this life. From the sea, to the tree, to the flower of this life. To the love, to the love, to the love that you are. To the love, to the love, to the love that you are. To the love, to the love, to the love that you are. To the love, to the love that you are. We will rise. 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 Here we go, this mantra. Say yes to life. Sing it with us with every cell of your being, all together. Say yes to life. 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 Say yes.
Say yes to life. Say yes to love. Say yes to life. Say yes to life.
In this moment right now, may we curl our chest open and allow our heart spaciousness to open and to breathe. To feel that love that dwells so deep inside of our hearts and to bring it forth upon the altar of our devotion so that we may say full body yes to life and feel the earth come alive through our devotion, through our mission, through our purpose, through every word that we speak. May our life give back to all of humanity. May our torch light 1,000 more. May we say yes more and more every day. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes.
love.
May we say yes.
Say yes to love.
May we say yes.
Say yes to love. Say yes to life. Say yes to life. Say yes to love. Say yes to life. Say yes to love.
Infinite blessings to our alignment with our highest soul's calling. Every day, may we do our own inner work to align with the harmonic matrix that is available to all of us, to guide us home to the truth of who we came here to be. And may our service bring us the highest octave of joy. Aho.
Wow. I am so blissed out. Thank you. And as you were singing and I was singing here in Bangkok, I just wanted to share how grateful I am to have found mentors and teachers and friends like you. And it really reminds me, as I was saying yes to life, it just reminded me of my mission, my living and breathing mission of why I'm doing this and why I invite people onto the live, because I really believe in love, and love is not separation. Love is cooperation. Love is working together. Love is me supporting you and you supporting me and you supporting, so many thousands and thousands of your students. And I'm so grateful that you reminded me of that. And, and I really feel honored to meet people who hold that integrity and hold such beautiful space. And I have never seen anyone who can hold an online circle as beautiful as you. And when the two of you weave magic together, it's like, the nature just blooms and the whole world like just ripples with positive effects. So I hope you can feel my words radiating through the screen right now.
So fully, thank you so much.
And I just want you to know that like last year, after I mentored with you, I hosted my first cacao ceremony in our Bali retreat. And I always refer to you that you're, I say thank at the opening, and you're part of my thank you. Because I really believe that some things that you do are just so magical, and it's like I just want to acknowledge you energetically, So thank you.
Thank you, love.
Thank you. And for everyone who's listening to this right now, we ran a little bit late today, but I hope it's well worth your 75 minutes, because it was really, really worth it for me. And, the energy was just through the roof. And if you want to be a part of Elah AuSierra's Patreon group, which is a group that I'm also a part of, it's only $11 a month, and it's automatically cut off from your credit card. I am typing this link right now onto the chat box, so you can just click that link and that will lead you right there. And I promise that I have more people coming onto the show, and as per my integrity, everyone who comes to the show are people that I personally know, are someone that I have personally worked with. And never know, maybe if you really love Elah AuSierra's session, just request back. I would love to chat with you both again if this is something that you feel, it's something that you want. Yeah, but I really recommend that you go into the Patreon's group and be a part of the community, the beautiful community.
Yes,
And yeah, and this is what we do. Basically, whatever that you just saw, this is what we do, but for an hour every week.
every single week.
Every single week. And in fact, it's twice a week because you have two lives. So it's twice a week.
And once public gatherings come back, what we're going to start doing is also in the group streaming all of our live events.
Wow. Yeah, that would be so nice.
We're in Germany, so you can be in Germany with us. If we're in Los Angeles, be in Los Angeles with the group, all of the spaces.
And I just wanted to fill in the audience as well. I have been virtually hugging Elah and AuSierra for almost a year. So, like we've never met, physically, but we're hoping that that's going to happen very, very soon. But I just want you to know that you're not alone. Whatever it is that you're going through, that love is really inside of you and it's really who you are. I'm just going to ask Elah and AuSierra for any last words that you want to share for tonight before we...
With what you just shared, I mean, the depth of the bond that we have, Sabina, it's a true testament of what can be created virtually.
Right.
And we do one-on-one mentorships, and that's where you get to really build. That's where we built our...
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And so even though we haven't met each other in person yet, there's this profound love,
Yes.
support, yeah. Support in each other's work. And there's one thing with in-person relationships, but it especially in times like this where we can't have that like in-person tangible touching that person, we can still have these deep experiences virtually and build these profound lifelong relationships still, and we're on the opposite side of the planet. I know we're going to meet in person.
I agree. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, just encouragement to not shy away, but like to those people that you feel really drawn to, act on the inspiration of reaching out to them to build those relationships and establish that connection, because it can still be deep and profound even if you've never met in person.
That is so true. That's how I really felt with you both. It's like I never, I felt like, yeah, we're virtual, but I just feel so connected to you and your energy and everything that you shared, that when you created this Patreon group, I'm like, I'm joining. It's like, it can be my own little retreat. And anyway, the funny part is one of the sessions you guided us to activate our voice. And Victor was like, what animal voice are you doing upstairs? like he was almost scared. That's why I typed in the comment that I think I just woke the neighbors up. If they're asleep.
We have fun for sure.
We definitely have fun. Well, I'm sending you both much, much love, and thank you for doing this with us. And I'm sending all the audience much love as well. And have a wonderful night. Yeah.
Blessings.
So Elah and AuSierra, blessing to you, love to you. And
such an honor and a privilege.
Blessings, baby.
And I will see you on our Cacao Live this week.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.